Y'all want to know why they keep calling us quote unquote fascists and Nazis and all this sort? Simple. Because when you have a label of fascism on you, Nazism on you, white supremacy, it is that much easier to not only take your life, but to justify the taking of your life. And that is what we saw happen to our brother Charlie Kirk on September 10th, 2025. It was easy not just to take his life, but to justify it because he already had the label. Now, the label meant nothing in reality because it had no weight, right? It's like a lot of the racism allegations really mean nothing. But in their world, these are cues to do exactly what they've been wanting to do. And almost all of this is coming directly from the so-called higher educational institutions. Better yet, I would say the indoctrination camps that our children are being hauled off into like sheep to the damn slaughter. Now, today I have a video that is extremely disturbing. Actually, the first 5 seconds will do enough of a job to disturb y'all. But it is a requested video, and it is one that I feel is fundamental, especially in the wake of Charlie's assassination. This is necessary stuff. We have to start equipping ourselves, educating ourselves, understanding. As much as you marveled at the brilliance of a Charlie and he would never be replaceable, we have to make sure to educate ourselves as best as we can, understand what this Marxist demon is that we're dealing with, and of course, then how to deal with it. But first, you must see the enemy. And when I say enemy, I don't mean those you have to come after in the flesh. We, wrestle not in flesh and blood, or not against flesh and blood, but principalities and essentially beings in higher places, the unseen realm, the psychological, emotional, spiritual realm. And so we deal in those ways. But again, y'all just got to see this for no other reason than how insane it actually is.
In the moment that you grab the gun, like Fanon says, you're no longer oppressed. You're now free. How do we teach that in the class?
Yeah, that's all I showed y'all today. I think that would be enough. That'll do. Yeah. Yeah, if that didn't do the job of solidifying your belief in good and evil, emphasis on the whole evil part, I don't know what else would do it for you. This is a college professor. And look at the image I stopped on. Didn't even do that on purpose. Look at that. It's boiling in this individual, in this entity here, possessed with hatred, violence, vileness. And look at the laptop of this woman right in between the two guys. This machine unalives fascists. That's what it says right there. Yeah.
To say that in the class, my students' heads explode, right? To tell them about violence,
to groom them into becoming violent, maniacal, demonic individuals is what you're doing. That's likely why their heads explode.
As a revolutionary tool, wow. as sometimes a revolutionary essential.
We actually need to crash the U.S. settler state, which has incredible reverberations and literally strangles the tentacles that are.
As this woman is going on about whatever nonsense, tentacle nonsense, you guys see the shirt on this woman on the right? The first word is yes to love. Do you know what these people's definition of love is? I want to know what love is. It's love for evil, love for anything that aligns with their insanity. That's what the love is. It's not going to be love if you don't agree with any of this foolishness. For you, it's going to be something different than love, a little different than love. And our brother got to experience that on September 10th. Yeah.
Reaching into the Israeli state.
So we must stand with the armed resistance and work right now to end this impunity by disrupting the flow of weapons to Zionists. Because trust, The armed resistance will defeat Zionism if it was open battlefield.
Yeah, I've been
The armed resistance they're speaking of is Hamas, a jihadist terror organization. That's what they're calling the armed resistance. The same people who would sooner blow up an American college campus because it is American than to stand arm in arm with these whack jobs.
humbled since October 7th, particularly being in community with folks, particularly when you're someone who has been doing this work. Why stop? This is a profound moment for us, right? And we need to dig in and go harder.
I think putting our bodies on the line sometimes to protect those who are more vulnerable, right? To eat tear gas when we should be doing that and not.
Look how she looked. Wait a minute. Sometimes, you just go along with foolish people. Like the dude on the right looks like, okay. Look at the woman on his right. Wait for this.
We should be doing that.
I don't know if you guys have seen the scene from Barbershop, and it's like the Black Panthers come together, and it's Cedric the Entertainer, and one of the heads of the Black Panthers like, we ain't gonna get shot. Every last one of us gonna get shot. And Cedric's in the back like, nope, no the hell I ain't.
And not students.
Lord.
I think that's essential.
So we have to struggle to crash things here. And my students were very, very clear about this.
What?
We have to struggle for indigenous sovereignty right here on Turtle Island. Like there's no way around it. And there's no looking past it at this particular moment.
When that comes time to the university saying, retract that or get fired, I'm confident in myself that I will make that right decision. That is the point of the being guerrilla scholar.
I'm sure that you've been snitched on to the administration about the content in your courses. That has been something that has happened for me. And I don't know what our administration is going to do, right? I know the work that I have been doing. I know the work that I've committed myself.
You're fired. Every last one of you. Fired, 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 fired. That's what should be happening to every single one of these whack jobs who want to destroy our country by first destroying the minds of our kids. Come on, man.
And I'm going to continue to do the work, right?
People missed out on the significance of what Hezbollah represented.
What?
Right? Of what the Iranian Revolution represented. And they just fell into the imperialist ideological representation of those movements and forces that were challenging imperialism.
Challenge what the settler state, the settlement of the University of Virginia that we're on, which is still a plantation and has all of its plantation artifice up, right? And artifacts. I'm trying to really ride the wheels off of these institutional resources and go for broke.
That we have to understand Al-Aqsa flood on October 7th and since then as a really decisive historic strike in terms of not just Palestinian national liberation, right? But it's historic.
1,200 innocent boys, girls, men and women, babies are massacred on October 7th for nothing other than their ethnicity. And this is the conclusion that this guy comes up with. That's where he ends up. He doesn't end up in a place where he is sympathetic, but instead his heart is even more callous towards the Jewish people who are the actual victim of this at the hands of Hamas. And sometimes, I tried to get across this point of how many of these people are supporting Hamas and many don't actually understand what that even means. But I believe there are as many on the other side who know exactly what that means, and that's exactly what they're doing intentionally. The old La Resistance. Yeah. To these people, Osama was just basically a freedom fighter. He had to do what he did.
Strike intervening into this, and I apologize for kind of rushing through the anti-imperialist moment of the past 20, 30 years, but I think it's a decisive strike into challenging those two legs of imperialism.
Some colleagues who are part of
Every single one of these people has a white imperialist, colonizing, white supremacist boss who pays them off.
my chapter of Faculty for Justice for
How
Palestine
much longer
to
is
help
this?
us teach Palestinian liberation, right? To teach about resistance struggles at this particular phase of Palestinian resistance in our classrooms, and how to build community with not just faculty, but students who are committed to this.
I think Hamas.
Anytime you hear a leftist say build community, what they mean is indoctrination in groups. How do we pull more into our little siloed groups to more further indoctrinate them into lies? There is no Palestinian state. Bite me.
Hamas, what it represents, and not just Hamas, but the whole armed resistance movement, it represents a rejection and a refusal of an equation of force that leaves Palestinians dependent and eternally vulnerable, and having to distort and configure themselves to seek recognition and protection from their oppressors. So how can subjugated states, subjugated peoples elevate their struggle from that in a colony, in a one-to-one relation of overthrowing the immediate colonizer, to overturning this broader imperialist world system, which was missing in the 20th century struggles? And I believe we're in a moment where it's being put to the question in a way it never has been before.
This guy right here specifically, this last one, I don't think he would mind strapping a explosive on himself and ridding of him and probably a classroom full of students. I don't think he would mind it. What is the difference between him and any other jihadist? He has the exact same ideology, the exact same fallacy that is his sort of modus operandi or his North Star. His goal is the same as Hamas, as Hezbollah, as probably ISIS and the rest of these jihadists. And he would probably say so proudly. How do we trust our children around these sorts of nut jobs? And my answer for that is relatively simple. We don't. That's why we are now living through an age of the necessary cancellation. This is an urgent and needed cancellation of these insane people that have been heads of our institutions, whether it be education, medicine, technology, media, politics. If we don't get rid of them, like a cancer, they will spread. Now, I'm just getting started when it comes to this right here. You know, in the same way that they are long-winded when it comes to their own points and how they have continued to push them into the ether and, you know, make these things the accepted reality and truth, we will do exactly that. If the assassination of Charlie has taught me anything, it is that the ones who do not want to have conversations will not, and I will not push them to. You can't go there with them. All you can do is to push your ideas into the world. And so I think as important as what Charlie was doing on the campuses was what he was doing behind his microphone. And he started to do even more and more of, you know, in the later years. When he was on the microphone and asserting what he believed, and for these principles to essentially make their way to be pervasive in the world around him, that was the core of the power. That's how whether it is a good man, a good leader, righteous leader, or a dictator who wants to dominate the entire world and overthrow it, they both must have the messaging down, whether it was Churchill or the little mustache man. They both have to have the messaging, and it has to be prolific. It is continuous, in abundance, in order for the people's minds to be renewed, minds to be corrected, because we've gone so far, deviated so far. It's like even just basic things that were once taboo or whatever it is are now so easily, readily accessible and accepted. Not just pervasive, but these things are welcomed. You know, there was a time when, like in Hollywood, you couldn't even have a kissing scene in a movie. And now you can't go through a single movie which doesn't have, you know, an S3X scene full out. That used to be something that was taboo, that we wouldn't push that imagery. But now Get on the damn internet and see what they got going on there. Not even on the corn sites, just get on a social media app. See what you'll run into the first 3 or 4 scrolls. We have to take our culture back. You know, when it comes to bringing God back into the conversation, we have to be the ones to do so, to bring the moral order back into our society. And we don't want to do it armed. That's the difference between us and them. They're always quick to violence for nothing. Words are violence is what they say, so they can get away with their actual violence and say, well, he said bad words. He said words that were mean and I didn't like. So we're the same now, right? No, you're not the same. But when it comes to defending ourselves, that might come a point where it is likely and necessary. And I truly pray to God that that's not the case. Our weapons are different because we know what we're dealing with is deeper than just the flesh. It's deeper than just what we see here. What, you know, the thing that is animated by the thing. The one that many out there claim doesn't exist. What soul? What spirit? How can you prove it? Well, I can say that when your body is just a body and you are gone, then who left? Who was the person there? What was the consciousness that was there? Now, that's a conversation for a whole nother time. We can get into that a whole nother day. But I want to give you guys an introductory, crash course in what we're going to be getting deeper and deeper into when it comes to this conversation of, you know, the indoctrination system, higher ed. And even I want to get into, you know, the impact of white liberalism and how they have been the facilitators of this. They've been the vehicle of all of this. So till the next time, appreciate y'all. Peace. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace. Aquarius. Where? I've been up for hours, I've been up for days, yeah. Staring at the ceiling, I've been counting strays, yeah. I've been in my feelings, I've been out of mind. I've been getting visions of the other kind. Yeah, I've been up for weeks. I'm in the count of blessings over count of sheep. I can never be the type to limit when it comes to me. I used to be the pleaser for the people. I ain't even